Alright, what is up, internet? I'm Tapioca. I'm gonna do a run of Zone of the Enders, the second runner. I am quite rusty at this game, but we're gonna do our best. It will be a miracle if we beat that estimate. But hey, we can't come in too much above it, so anyway, I'm gonna get started. I'm playing HD Edition, which is on PS3. Technically, PC's a bit faster, but PC changes like a bunch of little things, and it kinda sucks. So I still play on PS3. I'm just a boomer, I guess. Category we're doing is any %, which is easy, Jehuti, subweapon off. And I guess we can start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. Right off the bat, we are not in the usual mech. This beginning section controls completely differently from the entire rest of the game. The tech here is that I'm trying to land in certain ways on certain parts of the ground in order to cancel my landing animation like that. You can see I was able to just immediately jump back up, and that's not something you're normally supposed to do. So I got 1 out of 3 landing cancels there, which saved, 1 second. Tiny little optimizations you can do at the start of a run. That's the last we're going to see of that mech. That's just excellent little thing they threw in at the start of the game to make you reset a bunch. Now we're in the actual mech we're going to use for the whole game. Here he is. We're going to start doing some actual fighting. First thing they make us fight is this big cloud of dudes. The big cloud of dudes strat is to try to get behind them and hit them with these homing lasers. And the good thing about the homing lasers is that they hit everything that you're locked onto, plus everything that they have to go through in order to get there. So if we can get behind the cloud, then we can kill a whole bunch of them really fast like that. And then while we're waiting for the homing lasers to recharge, we do a charge shot that also has like a big splash damage effect. All of these enemies can be ignored, so we just speed past them. The fastest way to move in this game, pretty much, is to just mash the dash button. There's a few exceptions to that. So we're going to be mashing R2 a whole lot in this game. It is a miracle my PS3 controller still works after all of the mashing I've done. We're already at the first boss. The strat here is to only hit her once in the first phase. Well, it was to only hit her once. Now I've accidentally hit her twice. This probably won't work. But we want to do her damage in a certain way to hopefully skip the second phase. This is just definitely not happening. Yeah, no. If I had actually did what I said I wanted to do at the start of the fight, then we wouldn't have had to sit through that little laser attack, but whatever. She dead now. And now we're in space. Those spiders are timed to jump quite nicely, so we can just kind of laser them in the face like that, and charge shots will take care of the rest. It's worth mentioning, though, that those spiders do spawn in with RNG time delays, so sometimes, like right there, you can see the third spider on the right just didn't fall in for a while and survived the charge shot. That is kind of stupid. If you leave a cellar alive for too long, then it will spawn a bunch of dudes in, so we try to kill them as quickly as possible. There's another one down here. You can grab enemies and throw them at each other to take care of things a little bit faster. Is that guy over there still alive? Yes, he is. Okay, well. Not the cleanest handling of that room. Alrighty, boss number 2. You just throw the sticks at her, and hopefully they'll land. Hopefully she won't do anything too obnoxious. Okay, that was fine. She can be pretty terrible there, actually, and have you just sitting in the corner throwing sticks at her for like 10 seconds. On higher difficulties, she's much more aggressive and much more consistent, but on easy, she's actually the hardest version of herself, because you just can't hit her. This is a scripted loss, so we just manipulate him into attacking as quickly as possible with that combo, and that combo alone is enough to pretty much kill us. That guy is like the main antagonist of the game. We'll be fighting him a couple of times throughout the run, and he's just gonna kill us every time until the end. Enemy approaching. Close range combat type, Cyclops. That's not at all what I was trying to grab. Please give me a stick, thank you. Oh boy. We get them all? No, we did not get them all. There we go. Killing the first wave spawns in the second wave. I'm intentionally not targeting anyone because it causes me to swing horizontally, which I was hoping would allow me to hit multiple of these guys at once, but it totally did not. There we go. Not everyone actually has to die there, only the Cyclopses. The Raptors are allowed to live, and all the little mosquitoes flying around are fine as well. This is not good positioning. This is probably not going to work. Yeah. This has gotten completely borked. Let me just finish this, please. Okay. We want to hit those guys with a charge shot as they're dropping. That position was off, though. Yeah, that cellar's about to spawn a bunch of trash. I think I canceled it. We're gonna go get a stick for this. This mummy head wants to be a pain. That laser attack is the worst thing that any enemy in the game can do. It is truly horrible. We position this right. Nope. You can just kind of swoosh in there and then do one horizontal swing and get both of them if you're lucky. I should mention, by the way, ever since the last boss fight with the scripted loss, everything I've been doing has been added content to the special edition. This game's release history is extremely weird, and like this room, for example, was not in the original PS2 version. So there's all kinds of content that's not originally in the game that was added later. Only in Europe. That was then. We got it for the first time in the States with the HD version. And you would think it's faster to play the version that doesn't have like several minutes of added content to it, but because it's on PS2, it lags so hard that it's too slow. So it is still faster to play all of the extra stuff from Special Edition. None of these little orb cannons have to die, only the mummy heads, and then it spawns in the second wave and we can head up here. I'm a little concerned about this targeting. I usually prefer to deal with the Cyclopses first up here because they have that attack, and if that attack hits you, you are going flying across the room. Make sure I get this Metatron. Alrighty, so we're gonna have to find a dude named Taper now. Taper can be in either box 1, 5, or 6, and he's about to tell me which one it is. Boxes 5 and 6 are fast, but box number 1 loses me like 20 seconds. Please say 5. Thank you. Box number 5 is technically the fastest. We intentionally blow up the wrong box there because it manipulates the right box to move into Warehouse B over here, and Warehouse B is the closest one to the exit. Once you blow up the box, Taper spawns in that room, so like we're in Warehouse B right now. And anytime we go out into one of these hallways, it locks the doors and starts a fight. Thus doing it in Warehouse B skips a hallway and thus saves us a fight. Taper is a pretty tough dude, so we're going to use him as bait for the enemies. Can we actually target the Cyclops? Thank you. You can see there, I just let the enemies fly right up to Taper, and then we use that to get them next to each other so I can blast them with the charge shot. If you're playing this on the highest difficulty, you can actually use Taper as a pretty effective weapon. You can just swing him around, and he doesn't seem to mind that too much. We'll do it again. They're beating up Taper in the corner, so we can just kill them both with that. And that was it. We're done escorting Taper. This game moves fast. We've got commanders here. The idea behind these fights is that when there's a commander alive, all of the enemies around him have a whole bunch of extra HP and behave weirdly. So we want to take care of the commanders as quickly as possible. Ideally, we do it with those charge shots so that we just kill everyone. But on the second wave, you usually have to clean up the remaining dudes like that. You probably don't kill all of them at once.
Enemy approaching. Transforming high mobility frame. Narita.
Alright, so this is a new enemy. The Naritas are the most annoying dudes. Every enemy in this game is just built to be annoying. You're gonna notice a theme. At some point or another, I'm gonna complain about every single one of these enemies. But the idea behind the Naritas is that they constantly fly around and just block everything and have a bunch of little annoying projectiles that don't really do damage, but they cause your attacks to get cancelled. So, like, they knew what they were doing. Look at that. Just terrible. Just terrible. Please let me attack you. Please let me attack you, sir. Oh my god. Thank you. Alright, next boss is Vic Viper. There he is. Vic Viper is actually the protagonist from the first game. Interestingly enough, I guess. He's now flying, I guess, the ship from R-Type, or Gradius, or something. You know, the Vic Viper. Anyway, so what we do is we massively disrespect Vic Viper. We get him down here. We're gonna yeet him into this corner, and now we're just gonna do this. And hopefully my position will be good enough that he isn't going to escape from this. It looks like we're probably fine. You very slowly lose height while you do this, and if you go on for long enough, then he can actually get out of it. You want to kind of position yourself right on him so that he stays in the corner. Metatron is confirmed close by. Go and collect it first. We just got our first actually useful sub-weapon, which is Gauntlet. We're going to use Gauntlet a lot throughout this whole run, actually. It's really useful for shoving enemies around, and it does pretty good damage, too. So, during the next couple waves of Naritas, we're going to be shoving them into walls, and we're going to be trying to bait them into coming into this back section with us. That was pretty good. That was actually very lucky. We got all 4 of them. Usually what happens is like this, where you only get 3 out of the 4, and then you have to sort of deal with the 4th one separately. Yeah, 3 for 4 again, and the 4th one is just all the way out there. There's always that one dude. Now moving into the orange section of the game. These hallways are very orange. Only certain enemies have to die here. It's the ones that say key on them. They are, unsurprisingly, the keys to the door. That being said, they don't always say key. This game's a little weird. Sometimes they just won't say it, and you just kind of gotta know what you're looking for, which is stupid. Like right here, it's only the raptors that have to die, if I remember correctly. Oh, no, I did not remember correctly. It's also the mummy heads. Oh, right. It's only 2 of the mummy heads, though. Like, the rest of them can live. That's fine. The 3rd wave is one of these, where we have to destroy a cellar. I'll try to always destroy cellars with, by swinging another enemy at them, just because it takes care of 2 things at once. Blow that thingy up. What we're doing right now is blowing up 2 generators to unlock, like, a big door. If I time this right, I can quick kill these guys. Very, very cool. This is one of the rare situations where we're actually not gonna mash charge, or mash the dash button to go fast. And that is because over very long distances, if you hold the dash button, you actually get this, where you sort of like go super speed. And this is the actual fastest way to move. It just takes so long to charge up that you can't usually do it. I'm gonna hit these guys from a distance so that they don't see me, and we can just get them all at once right next to each other like that. And then all the little mosquitoes can live. Here it's, I want to say, 4 mummy heads that have to go, and the raptors can live. And we just use Gauntlet to slam them into the walls. Ugh. You. Yeah. Okay. It makes a little high-pitched noise when the door opens. That's how you can tell you've got them all. Here, I think it's literally just 2 mummy heads, and there's like a dozen other enemies that we can just try to ignore. It's actually pretty good. Usually the targeting system really screws you over on that wave. Really, the targeting system screws you over a lot in this game, just generally speaking. it's a safe bet that if I'm fighting something, I'm also being screwed by the targeting system. It's really, really horrible.
Raptor destroyed. Mummy head destroyed. Enemy destroyed.
Good enough.
Head destroyed.
There's a quick kill on this group of enemies as well, but it is much, much harder. And by that I mean it's random. Targeted the commander. Mostly we just want to make sure we've taken care of the commander, because that's going to cause all the other enemies to stop being weird. We can just slam them into the back wall. This causes a huge amount of lag, so ideally you want to not have to do this. If you get very lucky with how the commander moves, you can actually just hit them all in one charge shot, and that's always pretty insane. There we go. Door's open. Just gotta head back to the start, and we can escape from Orange Hell. Hopefully I won't crash into any walls here. Ah, door got me. Right at the end. The door always gets me. Gotta really thread the needle. Alright, this boss is stupid. If we get very lucky, we can do this in one fewer cycle. What I'm trying to do is slam her into the panels on the wall. No, okay. What you're looking for to skip the cycle is after you do the second combo, she doesn't put her shield back up. If she doesn't put her shield back up, you can get a third combo in. You just need one extra combo to skip a phase. So, no, we didn't get it. It's pretty rare. I would, however, like her to stop bothering me. Thank you. This should put her into the second part of the fight. In the second part of the fight, we're trying to get her to dash into the walls. That's random, because everything in this game is random. We can try to make it a little easier for her by using this, but she doesn't seem to like that most of the time. What we really want is after she gets off the wall, she stays close to the wall, so we can just knock her right back in. But she is not giving me anything. Ah, wow, she actually got me there. Little bit of HP left. Okay, we got her. Haven't been getting the best of luck on the bosses so far. This is the PS3 version. I mentioned it back at the beginning of the run, but the PC version is faster because of load times, but a lot of tricks and stuff were fixed. A lot of weird little boss cycle skips and the like just don't work on PC for some reason. So I don't usually play on the PC version. It's just not fun. And they're close enough that you don't even really have to be competitive in this game. Here's our auto-scroller, the obligatory 2000s auto-scroller section. As long as I know where all the enemies are going to spawn in, I can just spawn camp them like this, and they shouldn't cause that big of an issue. Of course, a huge assumption that I remember where the enemies are going to spawn, but I think I've done this enough times that it's just permanently in muscle memory. I don't need that sub-weapon energy yet. I'm gonna save that for later when I'm usually gonna run out. Weapon of choice here is Gauntlet because it breaks their shields.
Enemy reinforcements are confirmed.
And actually, most of the time it just kills them in one hit. Will break the shield and knock them into the back wall. For some reason, this wave takes forever to spawn in. That's why you want to spawn camp them, otherwise you do that. They're going to start spawning in really fast now. We're actually not even going to be able to spawn camp them effectively. Or as effectively. That was still pretty good. Yeah, that one got away from me.
4 more.
Fortunately, they all jump to consistent places, so I can just wait for them where they're gonna land.
Are destroyed.
If we did this right, we hopefully didn't hit any of the buildings.
Mission completed.
Yeah, there we go. SS rank. I'm the best gamer. That doesn't affect anything.
Obtained Metatron.
It just means that I'm the best gamer.
until the train arrives.
Alrighty, train section.
Narita
The
destroyed.
train section is just designed to make people mad, I think.
Gone.
All these little projectiles being pooped out by the train don't, like, do any damage. They're just here to interrupt you. What we have to do is destroy all the little panels on each of the train cars as we go up from the back to the front of the train. And every time we destroy a car, it's going to spawn a whole bunch of dudes. The fastest way to deal with the dudes is to just slam them into the walls. And then once they hit the walls, the friction will sort of carry them so far back that they despawn. That's what we're going to do. And to deal with the panels, we're going to do charge attacks, hopefully. Or we're going to do those lasers, the homing lasers.
Obtain Metatron.
And then in between those, we'll get them with the phalanx, which is just a bunch of little bullets. Ugh, come on. Can we actually target the enemies instead of the little tiny things that are flying around, please? Yeah, this just happens sometimes. He's not going far enough back. Okay. Come on. Awesome. Every time I blow up a car, I'm gonna jam myself between it and the car behind it. And that's because what's supposed to happen here is every time you blow up a car, it just shoves you all the way to the back of the train. And you have to spend a huge amount of time just flying back up to where you just were. It's a real pain in the ass. But if I do it that way, where I jam myself between the cars, it can't shove me back, so I can keep my position and save like a minute in travel time.
Obtain Metatron.
Didn't do a very good job of it there. Is that everyone? No, we still have one more. Okay.
There's only the front.
In the front car, we can just get with that thing.
We are
Give us some lore. I don't even know if I could explain the plot of this. It's one of those mecha plots that's full of politics and stuff, but basically there's Mars Nazis, and the Mars Nazis have a super weapon mech, and we have to stop the super weapon mech with our super weapon mech, which we just sort of found somewhere.
let a clod grab you. You can get out of a grabbing attack at the very moment of getting grabbed.
Oh no, well that didn't work at all, did it? That didn't work at all. So what I wanted to do was get her jammed in that doorway. Let's just do this again. Let's forget we saw the start of this fight. And she's still not going in the doorway. Okay, hopefully she just sticks around then. If you get her in the doorway, you can combo her straight to death with the gauntlet. Gonna go for a skip here. I don't think that was fast enough. So, if you do this fight perfectly and also get really lucky... Nope, she dashed. We're done. If you do this fight and get really lucky, then you can skip the attack she's about to do. Yeah, this. But in order to skip this laser attack, you have to wait, or right at the start of the fight, you have to dash at her as fast as possible. And then you also have to have her not dash around between sword swings. So even if you play perfectly, it still usually doesn't happen. There's tons of little things like that in this game on pretty much every boss fight, where if you play perfect and also get really lucky, you can save like a fraction of a second.
To grab, press the circle button.
So here we're only looking for the 3 key enemies. It's that raptor, then this mummy head, and then all the way up at the top. If we can target all the way to the top, please. Please.
Eliminate the enemy orbital frame.
That Claude. And we target him with the Comet because it's a homing attack that does a ton of damage. This is the only time we use Comet in the whole game, actually. Probably should have... Come on. Okay, there we go. Probably should have brought her with me so I didn't have to come back down for her. That would have been the play. As long as no one touches me, we can get the speed boost vertically as well, so we can just fly all the way up there without having to mash.
Move forward. Stop. Slow.
The gimmick behind this level is that there's invisible mines everywhere,
Be careful.
and the invisible mines will kill you if you hit them, so you have a navigator telling you where to go. I already know where to go, so I'm just going to completely disregard the navigator and do whatever I want. I just know where all the mines are,
Slowly
hopefully.
correct the direction
Now that I've
your
said it, it would be
body-
really embarrassing if I ran into a mine, so
Don't turn
let me
around
try my
until
best to
you
avoid
press
that.
X.
It's pretty
Right,
obvious
a
though, you
little
just
bit
want to
more.
fly, like the rule of thumb is just flying in between the
Missiles
lights on the
approaching.
ground.
Please defend.
Path isn't exactly that well hidden from you, like yeah, there you go.
Encounter. Enemy destroyed. ETR reaction gone. Raptor
A
destroyed.
few enemies to clean up here. We got a new sub-weapon called Halberd. We're going to be using Halberd right up till the end of the game. Halberd is really good.
The commander
Uses a ton of energy, but it's just like, it just destroys everything. That's it for the invisible mines. The gimmick behind this section is that there's a whole bunch of elevators and only one of them leads you down into the basement where we can find the bald dude that we're looking for. And I guess you're supposed to go around checking all the elevators, but I happen to know that the correct one is right here. So we basically don't have to play this level.
attack cellar first. ETR reaction gone. The battle has ended. There is no sign of the enemy.
Alrighty, well,
Stay away
now
from
we're in the
wall
basement.
shaft or you'll
The
be
basement is 6 rooms of fights. This is like the most normal fighting you have to do in the whole run. And I think for that reason, it's pretty much every runner's least favorite part of the run. It's very hard to optimize.
geyser.
Also, there are these crushers coming off the walls, and if they crush you, you're just dead.
ETR reaction gone.
Is that everyone? That is everyone.
Raptor destroyed.
What is going on? Okay. I got very confused for a second there.
Enemy destroyed. Mummy head destroyed. Enemy destroyed. Obtained Metatron. The gate to the next
Cutscenes too, please, but that'd be slow. I have to watch all the anime.
ETR reaction gone. Cyclops destroyed. ETR reaction gone.
The 3rd room and the 6th room have cellars in them, and I just completely whiffed that, so we're gonna run out of energy, aren't we? That was shameful.
Reaction gone.
I wasn't aiming in the right spot at all.
Metatron. Clog destroyed.
They're not all dead up there. This is like the worst thing you could have happen if you have an enemy that just decides to go up there somewhere and then the crushers close underneath him so you can't hit him. And you just have to wait for the crushers to go away. These rooms, the next 3 rooms here are all special edition content, so on original PS2 you didn't have to do these. Wish that were the case here.
Enemy destroyed. Narita destroyed.
Basically just 3 more rooms of the same,
Destroyed.
except harder.
Enemy destroyed. Raptor
Not this room though. This room's nice and easy because all the enemies just group up at the bottom and you can do that to them.
to the next unit is open.
I have a
Please
ton of
follow the
sub-weapon
arrow.
energy. This is gonna work out really nicely, I hope.
ETR reaction gone. Enemy
You have a bit of an energy crunch right here, usually. There's one enemy in this group that has a refill for me,
Mummy head destroyed.
and there, I killed him somewhere in there.
Mummy head destroyed. The gate to the next
That actually
unit
was
is
really
open.
fast.
Please follow the
Usually
arrow.
that goes a whole lot worse.
Enemy destroyed. Cyclops destroyed. Mummy head destroyed. Enemy destroyed.
This is the last room, which means there is a cellar.
Raptor destroyed.
I don't really like destroying the cellar with the halberd laser, but I do it because the alternate is grabbing a clod and swinging that around, and that's a massive pain in the butt.
Obtained Metatron.
Alrighty, so this is one of those strats that they fixed on PC. 3 swings, then a blast from Phalanx, and we can keep him hopefully in an infinite combo. This first phase is a little awkward because of all the walls and stuff, and they kind of shove him around. He stayed in the combo though, which was good. In the second phase, you're supposed to come to him, but if you just untarget, then I think he gets confused or something, and he comes to you. So we can use that to skip a whole bunch of stuff you're supposed to dodge, and then this second phase is much more consistent because there's no walls. There's nothing to stop us from just absolutely beating up on the guy. You have to do a completely different strat there on PC, and it's much, much slower. Why did I just untarget? That was not very smart of me. This is another scripted loss with Anubis. You have to hit him 4 times and then he goes away. We're trying to manipulate him into flying at me by firing these lasers. We want him to do the missile attack and not these red things. The red things are annoying and they're going to keep interrupting my stabs, whereas the missile gets cancelled and we can just stab him for free. Except for right there where the missile just decided to not get cancelled. I think my timing was off on that shot is the problem. Anyway, whatever. I'm free. After 4 shots, we still lose, but we came closer to winning that time. We actually got some damage in.
I detect high energy levels.
Roger.
Bad grip on the controller. You have to like... The grips you have to do on the controller to speedrun this game are absolutely galaxy brain. Both analog sticks, the triggers, the shoulders, the D-pad, all at the same time. Anyway, we've got 5 battleships to blow up. The bald guy that we just killed gave us vector cannon, which is this thingy. And we're gonna use 3 vector cannon shots to kill all 5 battleships, hopefully. So the first shot, we're just gonna snipe ship number 3 here. And we flew past ship number 1. So we're standing on 2, 3 is now dead. We're gonna try to sort of swipe across with the cannon and destroy both 1 and 2 here. Every once in a while, the core from ship 1 won't be exposed, but I sort of try to keep it open by hitting it with some homing shots as I fly by in the beginning. And I know I have it because I can see that lock off in the distance. So that kills it, you can tell because I got the energy. And then we aim over and hit the second core. That's 3 ships down. That's the easy shot though. The double shot between ships 4 and 5 is a little bit harder. There's a very specific spot you have to stand on the ship in order to make it happen. And this looks probably good. I might be too far back, but we'll find out in a moment. Alright, no, we're good. This looks pretty good. The lineup for ship number 5 is when you see all the little locks. You just sort of assume that's good, and hopefully it's good. Okay, we got the energy, and then we aim down right. No. I was a bit too far back. I was a bit too far back, damn. It's been a real long time since I messed that up. And now this mummy head is just gonna murder me while I'm charging. Thank you. Thank you, you can stop now. Okay. If 2 of them decide to do that to you at the same time, you actually are dead. It's pretty sad. I'm gonna attempt a quick kill on phase 1 of this boss, and it's not gonna work. We hit him with the homing lasers. Yeah, I missed a set of lasers where this is already over. This will be close, but yeah. Missed a set of lasers there. The timing on those attacks is very strange. This is one of those things where it's like, I get it a million times in practice. Can't say I've ever gotten it during a run though. Maybe once. Okay, yeah, at least he's behaving normally. In practice this morning, he was doing some very weird things on the second phase. We're gonna do most of the second phase with the homing missiles, and then hopefully finish him off with these spin attacks. Nah, he put up another shield. He put up another shield. Thank you very much for that. Can I just actually please target boss? Look at how little health he has, and he's gonna get another shield out. Okay, no he didn't. That was a mess. Last little bit of damage is always really awkward if you can't kill him fast enough. He just starts doing strange things. Alrighty, so, big fight. This big fight has sort of defied any sort of efforts to understand it over the years. The way I think this fight works is that there's all these little fixed rectangles on the mini-map, Every rectangle represents an enemy. We have to kill all of the enemies that are standing still when you're not close to them, or at least most of them, and then the rest will just sort of naturally despawn themselves. The best way to do this is to fly around backwards like I'm doing here. I'm flying around close to the ground because it causes the enemies to also be close to the ground, and that means they line up with each other vertically, and that means we can just sort of sweep the laser left and right and get most of them like I'm doing here. I've left sort of a lot of trash. I didn't do that very cleanly. We might have problems later on in the fight. You'll see that as I do this, like some little mini waves of enemies spawn in, and they're just going straight to the bottom of the map and mostly ignoring me. Some of them probably have to die, but they're low priority. The most important thing is that we get rid of all the fixed guys. This wouldn't be that complicated, except for the fact that, or it would be pretty consistent at least, except for the fact that you can only have so many enemies spawned in at once, because this is a PS2 game, or it was at least originally a PS2 game. And if you have enough enemies spawned in and the game wants to spawn in one more because you're like, you know, on top of a rectangle or something, and they just won't spawn in. So you can have a situation where you can see enemies surrounding you on the mini-map, but they're actually not there in reality. So I'm trying to manage the number of enemies that are spawned in so that I can constantly fly around and spawn in new ones. Gonna actually do... We're gonna come back this way because I have so many guys that I've left alive. It's a bit of a mess, and the second wave won't spawn in if I don't come back up this way. Come on, free me. As this fight goes on, the allied clods that are at the bottom of the minimap will get increasingly mad at me, because I'm not going to bother healing any of them, and they all really desperately want me to heal them, so they're just going to shout, and they're just going to get louder and louder, and they're just all going to be shouting over each other for me to come and heal them, and I'm not going to do it. The clods are actually bad in this fight. The clods actively harm me, because the thing is, like, now we're waiting for the second wave to spawn in. Note all of the enemies that are currently distracted fighting the clods. Those are enemies that are not going to chase me around, so I'm not going to be able to like easily group them all up and kill them. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come back here and I'm going to have to use homing missile. And homing missile uses up so much sub-weapon energy, so I really don't want to use homing missile. Sub-weapon energy drops in this fight are pretty much completely random. And so we're just sort of praying that they happen at the right times so that I can afford to do this. Good, sub-weapon, I'll take that. Ideally I wanted Metatron there, but I'll take sub-weapon. I'm gonna go out to meet the second wave as far away from the clods as possible, and hopefully I don't have that many enemies spawned in behind me so that most of the wave spawns in front of me like this. That didn't work out too well. This usually doesn't work though, so I'm not disappointed. At this point, no more enemies are going to spawn in, so once we've dealt with all the enemies on the mini-map, the fight will be over. There are a couple little stragglers up at the top of the map, but I don't really mind them. You don't have to kill everything in this fight, you just have to kill most of the things, and then the last little bits and pieces will despawn themselves for whatever reason. I think to save you from having to fly all over the place, tracking down the one last little enemy that's somewhere in the battlefield, you know. I'm gonna deal with as many of these as I can with the laser, and I'll have to switch to homing missile eventually. I'll switch to homing missile now. We're pretty close to the point where they're all just gonna despawn. Yo, what's up, Frayed? It is. The rare Zone of the Enders 2 run. Alright, they're all dead now. For whatever reason, this fight still takes like another 30 seconds to end, or, you know, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But they certainly take their time ending the fight. There we go. And yeah, we just let 7 of the Levs die. That's fine, though. So the mech gets upgraded. I'm gonna completely ignore that suggestion because it's a bad idea. We now have an insane amount of sub-weapon energy, so we usually don't have to worry about it. there's going to be one spot where we do have to still worry about it.
Distance or close range attacks as you wish.
And we also just sort of gain the ability to teleport with Zero Shift. Zero Shift is pretty much useless as a weapon, but it's a really nice movement tool. And you're doing plenty of Zero Shifting. As for what we're actually going to use as a weapon, Homing Missile is the play.
Fire F mine.
Oh, not the Floating Mine.
Fire.
Floating Mine is between Zero Shift and Homing Missile on the menu, and I accidentally menu to it all the time. Start putting a bunch of useless mines around.
Enemy reinforcements confirmed.
You all dead.
Fighting models.
Should be dead, thank you.
Long distance.
Ah, missed it.
Target confirmed. Start attack. How about a quick wipeout?
The way you unlock this door is actually by destroying the little orb cannons. As insignificant as they seem, those orb cannons matter.
Combat is suggested. ETR reaction gone.
Similarly here, we have to destroy all the little thingies that are flying around like that. They target me, so I just let them fly right into me.
ETR reaction gone. Enemy destroyed. ETR reaction gone.
The game has a cutscene here to introduce the Leopardos. They've been around all game. I'm not sure why the game doesn't introduce them properly until right now, as if they're new.
Enemy destroyed. ETR reaction
Also, they have a goofy name. They're not just leopards, they're Leopardos.
reaction gone. Enemy destroyed.
This is the one spot where I have to sort of conserve sub-weapon energy, so I'm intentionally not firing as many homing missiles as I could, because I need to have enough sub-weapon energy left over to also kill those guys in the end, and it can be a bit tight if you're just spamming everywhere. Here's the laser hallway. There is a giant laser in this hallway. We're gonna wait for a big blast of it to pass, and then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Grab a wall panel. If you get hit by that, you get knocked all the way back to the start of the room, of course. Uh-oh. Game ate one of my inputs. We might be in trouble here. Oh, we're good. That always looks really close, and I don't think I've ever actually been caught by it.
Obtained Metatron.
Here's the whole reason why we went to go stunlock the bald guy earlier in the run. He gave us the vector cannon, and the vector cannon is the only weapon that can destroy this orange thingy to let us fight the final boss.
Life ring has started revolving.
Not that I had a say in the matter, but you know, plot reasons. Where am I? Okay, I got no height off of that. Interesting. So now we're sort of in the final boss sequences of the game.
I suggest
We've now lost all of our sub-weapons except for Zero Shift. Ah, yeah, if you time this just right, we can actually stun lock him. Like so. And that's because we have a bunch of little thingies flying around our ship. Anyway, that was phase 1. There's a big laser. The Doomsday weapon on Mars has been activated.
I suggest using Zero Shift.
He is being really weird today. He did this to me in practice as well. Huh. So usually the way this works is in his first phase, he's most likely to fire these missiles, which is fine by me because the missiles are punishable. Usually, hello? Please let me punish your missile, sir. This is a really weird fight. Thank you. What is he doing? I mean, that was actually fast that he let me hit him there. That's good. In his second phase, he gets a bit more aggressive, so he's a bit less likely to use missiles, and he's a bit more likely to do things that let me fight him faster, like stick around after this teleport. Like so. And now in his third phase, he is super aggro, and he can actually kill me, even though I'm playing on easy. Yep, missed the timing on that. Now he's just got me. Okay, yeah. Go away, please. Nope, my health. If you can get your timing messed up on even one combo, that's what happens. These fights are not on PS2. These are the last enemies we're going to be fighting in the game. There's a couple of things we got to fight on... shoot, which moon is this? This is one of the moons of Mars. What are they, like Phobos and Deimos? This is one of those. The super weapon is the moon. Before we go in there to take care of it, I have to deal with some random enemies that are going to just be a pain in my butt. I'm trying to kill as many of them as possible with the homing missiles, or the homing lasers. But that usually doesn't take care of all of them, so we have to clean up with the sword. And now we can head in there. So, true final boss time, Almon Anubis. Almon Anubis can be manipulated into putting his shield up, which is punishable by dashing into him twice. I just had a really weird thing happen there. Well, this fight's ass now. I actually want to be hit by the missiles because it's punishable with a really big combo. This is interesting. His HP is actually set up really neatly here for a 1 cycle. Really, really neatly. So he should only do 1 healing cycle. So right now we can't damage him and he's pulling all of these panels off of the walls. If he gathers too many panels, he will heal himself, which I don't want to see. So we're going to sort of cancel it by destroying all the panels. We're also trying to cancel any sort of missile he might fire at me, and that's what the charge shots are for. This should be over in like 1 second. And time. Apologies for the lack of clear warning on the time. But hey, there you go, that's Zone of the Enders 2. That was honestly a pretty solid run, given how rusty I am at this. There's kind of a ton going on. This game sort of jumps from one gimmick to the next, and it can be really hard to keep up with explaining all of it. But I hope that was at least clear enough what was going on. What happens here is we rip the bad guy's head off and then throw it into the black hole to save the universe or something. It's very exciting. But that's going to be it for Zone of the Enders 2 and for me, so thank you all very much for watching, and yeah, I don't know what's on next, but I'm sure it will be excellent, so be sure to stick around for it.